We flew into roadless Katmai after flying into the roadless town of King Salmon and landed at Brooks Camp, the famous home of brown bears feeding on salmon. But the first day we didn't get to see too much of that because it was raining the whole time, so we got a good look at these slugs on our tent. But eventually the bears were out, and so were we. Here's one just exploring the river delta for some salmon, just ambling along. Usually people are allowed to cross this bridge here, but not when a bear is within 50 yards. Seems like a pretty close limit, but they're so habituated to humans snapping hundreds of photos and also so full with the salmon that they don't care about us. Another great activity at the park is fishing. Lots of fly fishing. The salmon, again, just charge up this river, and that's what makes it so great for fishermen, bears and humans. And here you can finally see the salmon just leaping up the falls. Two bears in the distance, one at the very edge. We got there really early one morning and were the first ones at the platform, saw them grabbing fish and stripping them down to the bones. Really cool to watch. They got just one after another because they have to bulk up so much for winter in such a short time in Alaska. There he nabs another one. No, salmon are funny to watch because lots of times they get nowhere near the edge. It was actually really rare to see one actually make it. And they just get pounded by the water otherwise, and sometimes they're so exhausted that they just kind of float downstream and get picked off by the weaker bears that aren't up at the falls. But beyond all the bear watching, we went to what's called the Valley of 10,000 Smokes, which was the original reason the park was created. Here you see this beautiful green valley that is a lot like what this used to look like before the fifth largest volcanic event in recorded history just blew the top off the place and covered it with ash. Here's a gushing waterfall, but the real view is how thick this ash is after 100 years. And this was one of our favorite views at the confluence of these three rivers. You can see the ash, and in the distance there is the volcano that went off in the snowy corner of the picture. But that was just a real incredible visit. And then back to Brooks Camp, where we saw these bears, mom and young one, playing with each other, rolling around. They go wherever they want around camp, and you try and just stay out of their way. Here is a view of the falls from lower down the river. Again, just bears all over the place patrolling. You never know where you'll run into one, so you got to be on your guard, making noise all the time. That is why, though, they set up these platforms that are obviously extraordinarily popular during midday, because people can just watch these bears from fairly close, get incredible pictures, and it's just a one-of-a-kind experience at Katmai National Park.